What's going on, guys? This is another episode of Shoot Your Shot. I'm your host, Napoleon Anicetti.
Val Rouser.
Alex Anicetti.
And today, guys, we have a very special guest.
Legend.
The big brother, an Eastside legend, the man who we give a lot of credit for to building our career, to helping us out, not only in our wrestling career, but personally, an absolute legend, Mr. Eddy Gifford.
Let's go.
Let's go,
Coach.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
AKA EJ,
Appreciate it.
for those who don't know.
EJ, yeah. you guys started that.
Real name is Edmund. Real name Edmund.
Edmund.
Edmund Jr.
Not Edward.
No,
and it's Eddie with a Y.
Yeah.
Let's get that straight. The number of IEs I've seen in my life, I'm like, it's not IE, it's Y.
Yeah.
I gotta be different. Sorry.
So, Coach, I want you to start off telling, how did the Gifford tradition start? Was it your dad? Was it your grandfather who started wrestling? Who started the whole tradition of the Gifford family?
Well, technically, my great-grandpa on my mom's side was actually national champion, AAU.
Oh, really?
Right?
Shit.
And then my dad did wrestling and football in high school, and actually had scholarship, had the opportunity to go to Nebraska and wrestle. Meet my mom, got married, had me. Right.
Yeah.
The rest is history. He did concrete his whole life. Toughest. You guys know, but Papa Giff, my dad, he's like that stereotypical tough
Blue
construction worker, everything that you could possibly think of what that stereotype is, that's my dad. He's got a dip on one side, cigarette in another, grinding concrete without a mask on, and then's what?
I'm fine.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
they're walking right into practice, coaching.
Oh my gosh, dude! When we went to growing up, I remember, we started wrestling. My dad threw me in it when I was 5 because I was getting bullied.
Okay.
Basically, I was soft, and my dad's like, "All right, we're gonna throw you in wrestling." And about a year later, the kids that were bullying me never bothered me again because they tried to jump on me, and they met what's called a headlock, and and that was it, right? Squeeze them until they were crying. Hey, you get close to me and you're done. So you know how it goes. But that's how it started, and I was very, very lucky to fortunate in my youth to be part of a really good wrestling program. We actually lived in Gilroy, California at the time, so. The Gilroy Hawks, very, very good club still to this day. Their high school program. My college coach actually helps out over there now, so it's funny that Jerry
Two
Abbas,
legends over there, freaking coaching
and
Gilroy.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, and you see it with their kids, their ability to flow and their ability to kind of roll and really kind of be creative with their wrestling. So it's fun to watch. But started there, and I always ask my dad, I'm like, Dad, man, how did you not kill me? Because you guys seem with bows sometimes, and the smoke's coming out of the ears, and you guys are smart enough to come in for the assist now. And I'm smart enough to get up and walk away.
Yeah.
But he's like, we had a coach, the guy that ran the program at the time. I would lean in to you, and he would come over, and he told me, he's like, you act like that, you might as well not come in this room anymore. And so he had to kind of watch from the sidelines for 3 to 4 years before he really got to coach me.
Got you.
And so I think that probably made a big difference. And then they used to have a really big wrestling tournament out here in Las Vegas at El Dorado High School.
Right.
And it was just something that attracted everybody. And so we came here and we wrestled at that tournament. It was the spring. My mom, she's one of those people that's always cold. So coming to Las Vegas and in the spring especially, it's we were moving here 3 months later, and it worked out for my dad because he was in the concrete trade, and what else can you do but pour concrete in the desert, right?
Right.
And so, we came out here, and I was in 5th grade when we moved here. We started basically, I don't know, we started a cult here in wrestling. My dad ran the El Dorado youth wrestling program.
Yep.
Back in the day, we didn't have nationals. We only had regionals. So like regionals, but regionals was huge, like 150, 200 kids in your weight class.
Like Western State, like Western regionals type thing?
Yeah, Western regionals. Old school freestyle bracketing where you had to wrestle like
Everybody.
40 times to place, you know, and an A and a B and then cross bracket at the end. And so like we started like making our mark. Like I won that tournament, and then my workout partner started winning that tournament, and you know we had several double golds over the years. It was crazy, you know, and you know the whole time like Greg and Chris, my younger brothers, they just kind of were just following in suit, you know.
Right.
Do you think that Papa Giff, like, you know, having you kind of lead the way and then Greg falling behind and then Chris kind of just watching, do you think he was like, oh man, like I got some freaking hammers coming? I mean, like I have to like push them in a certain direction.
You 3 boys, right?
3 boys and my sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And now if we would have been smart, we would have made her wrestle because like right when it got big, she would have been an Olympic champion.
Right.
You know, but Jamie was a reader. She liked to dive into her books and do that. She's like the cultured one. We are like, we are all the, you know, stereotypical jocks. Yeah. That's just the way it was, you know, except for in our household, if you weren't like a 3-5 or above, you didn't get privileges.
Right.
So it was.
So your parents kept that standard no matter what.
Yeah, everyone always asks, they're like, man, dude, how do you guys turn out so good? And I just tell them, you know, like, it's weird because we never had any curfews. We never had like any like rules. Right. You know, I mean, we had guidelines, but it was more like we just had expectations put on us, right? Okay, well, straight A student, you don't have a curfew, right? But you want to go out with the boys on Friday night. Remember, you got 6 a.m. conditioning on Saturday morning,
right?
And for whatever reason, my dad loved to make the workouts a little bit harder if I decided to go play with the boys. So, it was, you know, you made the mistake. You make the mistake like one time. You're like, oh, you want to go? Nah, man, I gotta go to bed. My dad's gonna kill me in the morning, like, and I mean like literally kill me. We're gonna run suicides for an hour in 110. Okay, it sucks. So.
Is there any story that stands out that from when like maybe with you, Greg and Chris, like where you like ran you guys in the dirt or something? Is there any story that stands out?
I mean, it was weird because like I didn't really get close with Greg until college.
Well, okay.
Like, they were. I mean, you got to remember, like when I was a senior in high school, Greg was only in 8th grade.
Right.
So like we had a pretty big gap between us. You know, like I definitely. You know, I feel like my dad made all the mistakes on me. You know, I've gotten the apology from him a couple of times. Like, yeah, man, I'm sorry. Like, you know,
I mean, too much.
I mean, I can remember, gosh, dude, Cagua Super Tournament, 10 years old. You know, big tournament at the time for kids.
Yeah, super tournament.
And going there, and you know, I'm overweight, right? So what does my dad do? He throws the sweats on, right?
Yeah.
But now this is not child abuse. Some people might claim that it is. But like, you know, I wanted to make my weight. You know, I ended up winning the tournament, outstanding wrestler. But I got down on the floorboard in the car with the heater on, you know, after running and just sitting there and sweating. Like the mental toughness that I had to develop, you know, as my dad kind of learning on me.
Right.
We're both getting mentally tough.
Was insane, you know, and then, you know, just, you know, him seeing it now as a dad, it's like you just want them, like you want your kid to be tough, right? You want your kid to be able to overcome adversity, like you want them to be able to like fight through, but then at the same time, it's like that's your kid. You want them to be happy,
right?
You want them, you want to give them the hug, you want to tell them it's gonna be okay, right? And so the balance of like being a dad and then also trying to like build a strong man and you know, being a dad, but also trying to develop a top tier wrestler, right? Or top tier anything in any sport for that matter. You always set the expectation, and unfortunately, when you're the dad, the expectation is here, right?
Right.
No matter what, why? Because he's related to me, duh. Right? It's interesting because you know my wife Kristen, she swam in college. She's probably even more hard ass than I am. And everyone's always like, "Oh man, you guys are so lucky. You guys got good genes. Both straight A students, both D1 athletes. Like your kids are gonna be awesome." And I'm like, "Nah, man, I got a Greg." my son has to learn everything the hard way. He's got to like push through everything. Nothing comes easy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how Greg was growing up, man. It was like nothing came easy. Nothing came easy until that kid was a junior in high school, man.
Right.
That's when you start figuring it out.
He struggled his whole life. It was like just these peaks and valleys, success, and then he'd get like thrashed the next year. And you know, my dad's like, "What the heck?" Because like I was just always good, and Chris was just always good, and Greg just like always had to work harder. But it's like, you know, he's overcome like so much, and I mean, it's why he's where he's at in his career now because like he knows how to put his head down and grind, man.
For
and
sure.
He'll just keep on pushing. He'll just get where he needs to go, and you know, and different people develop mentally at different times. You know, I mean, I feel like I didn't really understand wrestling really probably until like my junior or senior year of high school, you know, because
That's same.
yeah, I mean,
It's weird. Just did it.
Yeah, you just did it, and you went out there. Who's the tougher guy? And unfortunately for me, my dad was not a college wrestler. He did not have the skills. He had the aptitude to teach us how to be tough. And I mean, like, you know, story. Okay, I'll tell you a story. All right, so
I love this.
So this is so you got to remember, right? Like my dad is a hard ass. Like it is like there are expectations, and if you don't meet those are consequences, right? And so we're training, and I don't remember what tournament we were training for, but it was one of the bigger tournaments, and it was. I have to say I'm probably in 6th or 7th grade, right? Okay. And so like that by this time, you know, I've double golded at Western Regionals 11, 12, probably I think it was 13. So I was going for like my 3rd double gold at Western Regionals. And then I've got like all my buddies with me that worked out with me, like a guy Mario Palladino, he was a double gold. David Monhay, he was a double gold at one point. Adam Kearney, you guys know, like he was training with us at the time.
Shout out, coach.
So we had like you know, really like all these rock stars of Las Vegas like training together. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's like so hard. You'd never see that nowadays, right? And so we just had like the best of the best, and that was one thing my dad was always good at. Like, I'm gonna get you the best competition possible because, like, as you guys know, like you're only as good as your workout partners, right? So my dad said, you know, he's like, all right, guys, what we're gonna do today, we're gonna get started. 2-mile run, right? Come in, we're gonna hit a good practice, right, and go from there. And and so we come in, right? Well, remember my brothers are with us too. Like they're training, right? They're I mean, I kind of along for the ride, but So Greg and Chris, remember Greg's 4 years younger than me. Chris is 5.5 years younger than me, right? So I'm 13, so Greg's 9 and Chris is 8, right? They both come in before all of us.
Oh shit!
Run, right?
Greg did.
Oh
both
shit!
Greg and Chris.
Greg and Chris both come in before all of us, right? And like we go. So like we're whatever, we're shooting the shit, like laughing, like okay, all warmed up, all right, let's go work, and we get to the door and go to open it, it's locked. It's like,
hold on,
what's going on here, right? And like can't find my dad, don't know what's going on, right? Finally, like go and find him. He's like in the parking lot, and like, Dad, the door's locked. He's like, you guys are fucking done.
Oh shit!
We are not working out today. You wanna mess around? You wanna let those kids beat you? He's like, you can run home. We're at El Dorado High School.
Oh shit!
Right? I gotta run. It's like 5 miles.
Yeah.
Right? Back in the day, you could do that, right?
Right.
But so we had to run home, and then my dad like took the kids home after that. Like they came to practice with us.
Don't lose sight of them again.
He just locked the door. Said nope.
Not even doing this.
If you're not gonna go, then we're not gonna go. It's crazy.
I don't know if you remember this, but when we first were doing 5 a.m.s, we had a badass group, bro. One of the best teams Nevada probably ever had.
It's one of my favorite stories.
Arguably. Dude, and we're having 5 a.m.s. I think we're like on Thursday, you know, so we already did 3 days of it. And I don't even remember this, but we're practicing, and it's just an awful practice. You and Greg are just literally yelling at us.
Right.
And then you and Greg.
Sounds.
And then you and Greg literally just walk out of the room. And we all look at each other, and we're all like, hey man, we gotta get our shit together.
like, what we doing?
Like we need to start drilling hard. And we start drilling our ass off, and you guys pop your head in. And you're like, I'll see you guys at 5 o'clock in the morning. And we were like,
It's the worst. Right?
Trey started
How
crying.
bad was that 5 a.m. the next day?
Bro, that shit was terrible. That was my
I think that was the next day when they dropped us off. It's when you're allowed to do this. I'm pretty sure, Greg. I'm pretty sure they threw us in the freaking truck, bro. And that's when you guys like dropped us off like 4 miles down the road and threw out tires.
And
They
ropes.
threw out tires and ropes. And was like, all right, now run this shit back to the wrestling room. You guys don't want to train, bro? You guys gonna do stupid stuff like this. Don't stop wasting my time. And we just were like,
Oh, well.
All of you guys just instantly broke. Oh
Look
God.
at that.
dude, we had like big men, bro,
motherfuckers.
crying. Like 250 pounds, 6'3", big, strong dudes from the east side, bro, just breaking and crying, bro.
When that was like, I mean, the crazy part about it is when I coached with Greg that year, like Greg was the best tool that I ever had.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, as you guys know, I mean, both of us, like, you know, anything that you guys would do, like, we would do it with you.
Right.
Yep.
Right? It was like, okay, well, whatever. All right, we'll go do it. You know, and
Literally,
we'd
yeah.
probably beat you too.
Right. Right.
Greg definitely would.
Yeah.
He was still training to fight at
Yeah.
the time, right? So
Yeah.
he was still like in peak condition. And but it was just one of those things where it was like if one of the guys was slacking, I'm like, all right, we'd warm up. Okay, you got Greg today.
Literally.
And it
man.
was just like you could just see them like, oh,
That was the worst.
you know. And
Our sister, bro, hey, we would be warming up, bro.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're trying to avoid them. Like,
No
not
eye
even look
contact.
at them. And this fucker would just literally grab your hand and start swinging you. Okay, you're wrestling me. Let's go.
Yep.
And
Here
you're-
we go.
Then
Just
you're
immediate.
dying.
Just like, yep, today's gonna be hard.
This is gonna be brutal.
Well, the drill just sucked because, like, it would be hard because you're doing the drill. And when he's doing the drill also, it's still sucks.
still hard.
It's still hard. So, like, there's nonstop, bro. Yeah.
You know, it's crazy because like the way how you guys were coached with like Eddie and Greg was completely different on how we were coached.
Okay.
We had dads who most of them never really wrestled at all.
Right.
They were just they were students of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my dad was probably the only guy in our gym that actually wrestled and won a state championship. And like even then, my dad wasn't like out there wrestling us or doing any of the workouts. Period.
Right.
So like when we would have practice, that was what we would do to the kids. Hey, no, you're going with Jade and Val, and those kids would just. And we were like the
enforcers.
like the enforcers of the gym.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was times where I'd wrestle some of my buddies, and like I'm going hard. Like we got nationals in a week, and you wanted to be my partner. Remember, that's what you said. You said you wanted to be my partner.
Yeah.
And I remember beating my buddy's ass so bad. I finally just move, get out of here.
Next one.
I need a new partner. Get the hell out of here. Get off the mat. Leave.
Next one.
Like get out of here. Stop asking me to be my partner if you're not going to work hard.
Right.
Val and
And
Jay
then
the
the kids
enforcer.
would do the same shit. They'd be
But that's the thing that I think is like missing from a lot of programs now is that like they don't have like that type of leadership.
Right.
Like the
Accountability.
coaches, well, we try to promote it as much as we can.
For sure.
Right. I mean, like we're at practice the other day and you know, we got a ton of kids. And so we split them, right? We're doing 2 groups and we're drilling and, you know, you get to the side, you do 10 burpees, then you bounce, right? The number of kids that skipped burpees, like
Or didn't do all 10
I never
or did
would have
8.
skipped one. Like Val never would have skipped a burpee, right?
hell
You guys
no.
never would have skipped a burpee, right? You would have hit them, you'd have bounced, you'd have been like, let's go, you know, like
Right.
we're training for Freak Show. This is a national tournament.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
and
it
like
is, yeah.
and it's like, you know, we don't go places to not win. I mean, even today, 44 years old, if you threw me in the U.S. Open adult division, I'm going there to win. Yeah, I know I got to wrestle David Taylor. I know I got to, I got to wrestle Aaron Brooks.
my
Like, I know,
mindset-
I know I'd have to wrestle those.
Yeah.
I know there's probably no way that I beat them.
Yeah.
Right. But when I step on the mat,
Yeah.
right,
I'm
the
gonna try.
mentality is I'm going to find a way.
I agree.
Right.
Right. And it is what it is, you know, but you have to have that mentality to be successful in this sport and then you have to be that mentality to be able to improve in life.
Right.
And that's the thing that like is missing nowadays.
I think that's what's cool about the video that we posted recently on Instagram is like a lot of people were like, man, like this is what kids need. Like kids need this type of direction. They need this type of like leadership. They need this type of like toughness to be able to get through just regular life shit.
yeah.
Regular life shit.
Well, I remember
You
going
know?
through like Oregon when we'd go and train with the Cobra guys out in Oregon.
Yeah.
Our first camp, we were probably in like second or third grade. We had never really been to an intensive camp before. We had no idea.
Right.
And not only that, but it was an 8-hour camp a day.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
it's
long
like,
camp.
let alone of us just drilling for
it
an
was
hour and a
intensive.
half. And
Yeah,
it
I
was a
remember that
freaking
camp.
intense
I
camp.
remember that
Yeah.
camp.
Like the
Yeah.
first thing you did in the morning was you're running 5 miles, at least.
Yeah.
That included sprints, that included the long distance, that included everything. As soon as you get back, you're throwing your clothes on and you got a 3-hour practice.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad walks into the gym and he's like, hey, these are my sons. They're badasses. They think they're badasses. I need you to pair them up with the toughest kids of their
Yeah.
size in here, and I want you to beat their asses. And me and Jada are just sitting there like,
Dad, what the hell?
What is going
and dude,
on?
literally for the whole week, Cody Pack, we
Yeah.
had this conversation a while
Love you,
ago.
Cody.
Shout out Cody.
Yep.
He picked me as a partner, bro, and
Mashed you.
and he's laughing and smiling the whole entire time, bro. Like he's like loving it,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm just hating it. I'm like saying I'm trying to avoid eye contact.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm not your partner, and you know, even still to this day, he bullies me, and it's
Yeah. Hey, you know what's funny about that story, Val? Is your dad did that. How old were you?
we were like second grade, so I don't know, fucking 8.
I remember the first time we went to UVU.
Yeah. Oh,
And we're
God.
having our first get together, all the wrestlers, it's a whole bunch of UV athletes, and literally his dad is going around to everybody, hey, you grab Val and Jade and you kick their ass. You kick their ass. You understand? I'm like,
Well, and this is what
they're little guys, but I'm in.
we're having like a wrestler kickback, you know, like
Yeah.
we're having
Right,
nobody's parents are there.
Right.
We're like
Your
telling
dad
my
is.
dad, like, hey, Dad, we're gonna go to this wrestling party. We're all gonna meet the team. We're gonna hang out. It's gonna be fun. Some of the softball players, you know, maybe
Yeah.
the volleyball players are gonna be there. It's gonna be sick. My dad goes, can I go? Like, do you want to? I remember my mom was just like pissed. Like,
Oh, I bet.
like, what the fuck? You're going to a college, like,
Yeah.
get together?
Yeah.
Like, no. My dad's like, oh yeah, no, I'm going. This is
Yeah,
gonna be
lay down
awesome.
the line.
That was
Yeah,
so
this is gonna be
good.
awesome.
Thing,
And I
do my
remember
thing.
everybody at that party is like, whose fucking old dad is that? Like, whose dad is here?
Oh, Kurt.
And me and Jade, we're two tiny, good-looking Justin Bieber flowing haired kids. And we're just like, yeah, that's our dad. Yeah, that's our dad, man. He's a good time.
And he's just telling everyone, kick their
Yeah,
ass.
and he's telling everybody, you fucking choke them out.
Yeah, literally.
Slam them, beat the shit out of them. It's like, dude,
Take it easy.
like,
Fuck.
it's
Hey,
not gonna be hard enough.
hey, here we go, Val. One of my favorite segments. I've been waiting for this one.
Okay,
We're gonna move on to segment, Coach.
All right.
This is called What Pisses Me Off. So,
do it.
this is sponsored by our ATC adult program here. Fridays from 6 to 7 o'clock. You jiu-jitsu athletes, you people who want to wrestle.
Grapplers.
Grapplers.
Yep.
Guys who want to learn it. Guys who've done it before and want to get back on the mat. Here at ATC, Fridays, 6 to 7 o'clock. You get coached by Coach Alex. Come
go.
check it out. All right, so, Val, what's pissing you off, buddy?
Listen, I woke up mad this morning. Okay, pissed,
That's the worst way to wake
Okay.
up too.
Why?
and it's nothing personal or anything.
No?
Okay.
I woke up, throat hurts,
Mm.
nose hurts, my whole head is hurting,
That was you last
head
week.
cold.
I know, literally.
Like, I just don't like to be sick,
That's the worst.
I like woke up in the middle of the night and was like,
Uh-oh.
Oh, this
damn
one-
it.
Yep.
And I
Yeah,
remember
you
not
feel
being able
some-
to sleep because all I could think about was like, oh shit, we're about to go to Iowa
Yeah.
and I'm
That's-
getting sick.
Yeah. You know, you could,
So
you
that's
know,
what pisses me off.
You know what
man.
you
This
could
whole
use?
crap.
Use those fueled multivitamins. I pounded some last week. Helped a little.
I took some
Yeah.
emergency and some airborne this morning.
Yep.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
You're gonna OD on
I'm
vitamin C.
gonna OD on vitamin C.
Yeah, be careful with that.
Yeah. Can you OD on vitamin C?
I don't know.
I think you can reach a
Eddie
certain
thought he
amount
did.
of-
I think you can. I think you
Eddie
can
thought he did.
because I remember last year heading into Worlds, Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, I like started to get the little tingle. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
crap, and I'm gonna compete in like a week. So I'm just like way too much vitamin C. I swear it made me more sick, dude. Like I was like,
Oh,
toxic.
God.
I'm never.
Your body's
doing
shutting
that
down.
again.
You're getting too healthy.
I'm getting too healthy. It's like flushing all
Your
the good
immune
stuff
system is
out,
too
right?
strong right now.
That was bad.
My boy Alex, what's pissing you off, buddy, today?
All right. Yo, PT, have you been to a wrestling tournament?
Freak show last week.
Freak show? So we all been through wrestling tournaments, right? You know
Yep.
what pisses me off?
What?
The toilets. The main restroom.
Oh, that
So
is
It is
nasty,
the worst
bro.
thing you could ever go to.
It's so bad.
Bathrooms are clogged. You know, if you host
Lines
if you
out.
host a wrestling tournament, like make sure there's toilet paper first off.
Let's have a
Always
janitor on
toilet paper.
standby.
Yes, literally. Yes. Just literally, bro, the bathrooms are just disgusting. And the first day, I didn't even shit until I got home. I had to hold it in. Every time,
Every time you went to go in, not only was there a line, but a kid gets called to the mat right away.
Yep.
Of course.
Yep. Yeah, so that's what
the
pisses
worst.
me off.
That's a good one.
Yep.
That's a good one. That is
Thanks,
a good
dude.
one.
What pisses you off?
What's pissing me off right now is that my voice is gone.
Yep.
I was like 3 matches into this weekend, and I literally looked at Val. I think I looked at you, and I was like, I'm going way too hard.
I need to tone it down a little bit.
Right.
I'm going way too hard. I've been trying to coach practice the last 2 days, and everyone's just, what?
Coach.
What are you saying?
Yeah, last night when you were trying to say something, you're like, guys. And I was like, everyone be quiet. Coach Knapp can't talk. And everyone's just like, oh, God. I'm just like, be quiet, man.
I love it.
I can't hear him. I'm trying to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Coach, anything pissing you off today?
Oh my gosh, what pisses me off?
Let me see.
Let's see everything. No. Right now, I think that's what's driving me crazy is that what kids say they want. I mean, it happens in my business too. Like what people say they want compared to what they're actually doing to get it, just drives me nuts, man. Like it's like kids raise their hand. I want to be a national champ. No, you don't. Like it pisses me off when people are like
straight up.
It's like when it's like when you meet that guy, and you know they ask you about yourself, and you're like, I wrestled in college, and then, oh, you're a wrestler. I'm a wrestler. You're not a wrestler, dude. You went to one practice in high school, right? Or you wrestled in high school. You're still not a wrestler,
Right.
When people try to like put themselves like
On the
this
same
level,
page as you.
right? Even on the same page, or just
you
like,
haven't done what I've
on
done.
on this level, you know, like like for me, I know that I'm not willing to do what it takes to be like an Olympian right now,
Right.
At this stage in my life, right?
Right.
But I also know what it does take. And so when somebody tells me like I want to be this or I want to be that or I want to do this or I want to do that, and you don't see anything in the habits or anything in the actions,
Right.
like that's like that
fires you up.
that's a quick way to trigger me, man. Like that'll piss me off like
That's
that.
a good one, Coach.
Yeah,
That's a good one, Coach.
I 100% agree with you.
That's a good one.
Like I had, because recruiting these days is way different.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like back when we were kids, really wasn't social media. So like colleges weren't checking your social media.
Right.
They weren't really coming and hanging out at your schools like they are now and just
Right.
observing who you are as a person. And there was a kid that was having some behavioral issues at school, and that was, I was just kind of asked him like, "Hey, do you think you'd get recruited right now?" No, I don't know. And I go, "You wouldn't."
Right.
I'm like, the way you're talking to your teachers and the way you're handling yourself as a kid that's, just acting up with your friends or with your classmates or with your teachers or doing the things that you're doing at school, doesn't matter if you're a good wrestler or if you have straight A's.
Right.
You're acting in a way that they don't want kids like you at their program.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I have 100% get that because that was the thing was like, oh, I'm going D1. I want to go D1.
Yeah.
It's like, do you really? Because if you did, you'd be listening to your teachers and you'd be doing these things that are going to set you aside and set you apart from everyone else.
I agree.
100%.
I agree. Like there's definitely a formula in place when people want something. Like, all right, you want this. This is what it takes to get this. If you don't want to do it, then you're probably not going to be able to reach this goal.
I mean, just look
You know
at the
what I mean?
stories of all the greatest, right? You could talk Michael Jordan, you can talk Kobe Bryant.
Right.
I mean, you see the stories all the time of Kobe, like, hey, I got up at 4, trained for 2 hours while you were sleeping. Then I did it again. I'm accumulating more time than you. If I have more time than you, I know that I'm better than you. If I know that I'm better than you, I know I'm going to kick the crap out of you.
Right.
And
sure.
Same thing. Like me growing up, I grew up on Dan Gable. And Competitor Supreme. I remember watching that like in high school. Like it seemed like every single day. I swear it's the only thing my coach ever let us watch. But it's like the story of Gable is like the day after like he lost the NCAA championship, he got up and went running the next day.
Right.
Right. And it's like, why? He's like, well, one, I was pissed, right? Shouldn't have lost that match. But he's like, I don't see anything wrong with working as hard as I can to accomplish my next goal, which was the Olympics.
Right.
And then he goes to the Olympics, wins the Olympics without getting scored on, right? But he never took a day off.
Right.
And I mean, that's what it takes nowadays. And the people that want to be the best, you got to be the best at making boring fun. Because at the end of the day, if you want to be the best at something, it is boring because you're going to do the same thing over and over and over and over again.
That's money right there.
The person that can actually,
That's
the person that can survive that the longest is the person that's going to be on the top.
So you want to be professional at boring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Coach. What do you think about that kid, Bo Bassett?
Well, I mean, his name is Bo, and my son's name is Bo, so I gotta like him just based on that, right? The kid he's motivated, right? And the one thing that I like that I see more now than I saw 15, 20 years ago is that like these kids are learning how to continuously adapt and being able to adapt in wrestling because of styles and the sport has changed so much, but then also to be able to adapt in life, adapt and pivot. Like there is no such thing as like a straight line to whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right? Like you got a goal, it's right here, X marks the spot. Like there is no straight line. I promise you. Even if you're on a straight line, someone's gonna come and T-bone you, right? Like it's like there's no way. And so like, this kid, he's consistent. He gets up every single day. He's putting in the work. He's finding workout partners. He's entering tournaments that he's not supposed to win and competing and winning some of them. Like he didn't win worlds, right? But he's right back to work, and Cepeda's coming for him, and you saw that like
close.
2 weeks later, like it's interesting when you got your coaches in your corner and you got a little bit of perspective, what happens, and so like that's a hard spot to be in, man. I mean, like when you're at the top, especially nowadays because it's all broadcasts. And you can see everything. Like I mean, and of course he's building his brand too, being a smart kid.
Is so big. Such a great job at it.
Oh yeah, he's doing an excellent job, and he's just and I don't think it's changing him. It's just that he's just broadcasting his life and what he's doing. I don't think it's fake. I think it's genuine. But it puts a target on your back, man. Yeah. So like I respect him for continuing to do it.
Yeah.
Because like
he's
it would be easy.
I know I'm working hard.
Look, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. every day and I'm posting about it. And I'm telling you that I'm doing this. Catch up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like catch up. I like
where my opponents at? What do you guys? Look, I am working harder than you.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah. Totally. And so like I respect the kid, man. I think that
you like his style.
He wrestles a lot like I did. So I can't like not like his style.
Love his style.
If you were to blend me and Greg together, you would get Bo Bassett because like he's got like that just grit. That like when you wrestle Greg, you were like,
ow.
I don't know what just happened, but yeah, I don't ever want to do that again, right? And then like, when you wrestled with me, like it was always like, hey, that wasn't so bad, but somehow I got teched, right? And you're like, and like Bassett like does a good job of kind of like blending that together, like constant movement, constant contact, as you guys always hear from me.
Yep.
He's moving, he's flowing, he's wrestling. That I think he over wrestles at times, right? But I think that's just from the aggression and like the confidence.
Right.
Like I can make a mistake and recover from it, and so I'm not afraid to take this risk.
I agree.
And that's like the coolest thing about some of these athletes is like their willingness to take those risks. There's no such thing as success in life without risk. There's no such thing as success in life without failure.
Right.
But you got to take the risk to potentially fail, to learn from it, to be able to come back from it.
For sure.
And he's been doing a lot, but he didn't hit that world championship this year, right? So even him, he's gonna have to take a step back and he's gonna have to be like, okay, what did I do? What did this guy do? How did he beat me? He can do so much on his own. He's gonna need feedback. He's gonna need perspective. It's good thing he's got a good group around him. And
two of the best wrestlers in the country, Jax Forrest and Bo Bassett, are on the same high school.
I'm pretty sure Mason Gibson's on that team too,
Gibson.
and then his little brother, and then Melvin Miller's on that team.
Yeah, it's like that freaking high school team is
And
unreal.
let me ask you guys this: where do you think he ends up?
Oh, man, I mean, back in the day, like I would say that he's,
I feel like he's going to go to Penn State.
He's like an Iowa boy, like
think
back in
Iowa
the
guy?
day, but
If I was signed him, that would be crazy.
I think he.
I think Penn State. I think he's too close to his family, and he's too close to that community, and it's just there. Like, what? Why does he need to leave PA?
Yeah.
He's got everything already.
Right.
Yeah.
Have Nittany Lions pay him freaking $250,000, $500,000, $1 million to go wrestle for him. Not only is he close to home, he's got his little brother there. He's got all of his training partners there. He's got his dad there. Why the hell would he leave?
Yeah, if it's not there, it's probably Oklahoma State. You know, he follows David
David
Taylor.
Taylor.
He goes over there.
I would like to see
know, I could see that. I mean, like in general, like Oklahoma State has a style more similar to the way that he wrestles, and now with David Taylor there too, like kind of blending it up. You know, they've been with John Smith for so long, and kind of a more open style.
Right.
But now with David Taylor, like he's gonna have like these kids that are kind of an open style, meeting these kids with, you know, this more like contact style, and so I think that like Oklahoma State is going to like evolve wrestling with Taylor there if he can keep the guys that are there already.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, then you
If he
add
can
in
keep that
Gilman
crew-
too. Gilman's, you know, bringing that Iowa style wrestling in with the hand fighting and the pressure.
So it's
and
like
the
you got-
and then you got RBY in there training with these guys. Like
And
now you
RBY
got
is
his
more of an open-
speedster,
more
exactly,
of an
open style,
yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah,
you just
so-
have the
Isn't it Fix still there too? Is he
Dave
still
Fix is still there.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I just think that I would like to see Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a while before they can knock off Penn State. I mean, like, I've known the Sanderson family since since I was like 10 years old. So,
Yeah.
shit.
like, you know, it's so crazy to like
Did
look
you-
back and, you know, see Cole and Cody and Kale and like, we used to like hang out with those guys.
Did you ever wrestle Kale?
I never got a chance to wrestle Kale. No. They were Cole.
Is he older than you?
He's younger.
Oh, he's younger than you.
Yeah. Or he might be. No, I think he's he might be a year older. I don't even remember. His brother Cole was the guy that like I would have wrestled. Like we were like the similar in size, but we never crossed paths.
Right.
And then Cody, he was the oldest. He's a tiny one, right?
Yeah, he's little. Yeah.
And then Kel, like, I never got a chance. Greg never wrestled me either. Although Greg, you know, what was his size? Greg wrestled Full Heart before, who Kel wrestled in the finals from Iowa, but I never actually wrestled Kel. I'd love to wrestle him. I'd love to just roll with him. You know, like I'd love to
see how he feels.
I just, you know, like when you have good fundamentals, you're like, well, I mean, I think I can like not, you know.
You're always a man that shoots
I
your
can
shot,
score,
coach.
You know,
You're always a man that
I think
shoots your
I can
shot.
score. I can.
Yeah. You're always a man that shoots your shot.
If I score, he'll probably kill me. But you know,
I'm gonna try to
I think
score.
I might be able to catch him off guard.
Right.
You know, who knows?
All right, coach. We're gonna move on to one of my favorite segments. Shot out of a cannon. You can either answer them one word
gosh.
answers, or you can.
But if you need to
elaborate,
I'm old, so
I like to
some of this
elaborate.
stuff I probably don't even know.
I like to
No, we
elaborate.
catered it towards you. It's
okay.
Yeah, this is catered for you.
catered for you, coach. This is the
You're not
40.
really
and,
worried.
this is the 40 and up.
Dengue or Tiger Balm? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, now that's
All right, I might add that one in there. Hold on.
you should.
All right, here we go, coach. This segment, though, is sponsored by Vegas Strong Athletics. This is our nonprofit organization. We go help to raise money, guys, for kids that want to train, the opportunity to be able to compete at the highest level, to travel, and that's what we do here at Vegas Strong Athletics. We've partnered with organizations such as Metro, the Las Vegas Metro Police Department. We did a great sponsorship with them this year. We're able to sponsor some of their kids. So shout out to Vegas Strong Athletics. All right, here we go. Shot out of a cannon.
Fun.
That's right.
Coach, sauna or ice bath?
Sauna.
Sauna.
Yeah.
Did you
Not
sauna
very
a
many
lot as a
people
kid?
that say ice bath.
No?
It just hurts.
The thing about the ice bath is like it's not the ice bath; it's coming out of the ice bath. So like
Just the
I mean,
needles?
when I was at Fresno State, there was a time where I cut way more weight than I should have been.
How
cutting.
much?
I mean, oh gosh. I walked around at a lean like 185, and I was wrestling 157s. Ooh, and so like it was it was
For real.
It got so bad. I mean, even like 65s was rough.
I was going to say,
my-
65 seems like a lot.
Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like my sophomore year or junior year, I guess it was my junior year. I remember my dad came up. He watched me wrestle, and it looked awful. Like I like.
He's, like,
It
tired?
was bad. I looked awful.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm taking you home. You're done. And so he went to my head coach, Coach Toledo, most hard ass coach you ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
And
And that comes from you too. So that's a hard.
and
it's a hard
and,
ask.
and
Yeah,
he
it's a hard ass
just he
person.
sat there and he told my coach, he's like, look, Eddie's going up or he's going home. And the coach is like, okay, well, he wants to go up. Like, I'm not making him stay here. And then me being me, I'm the team player, right? So I don't move up to 174s. I move up to 184.
Nice.
And
Classic.
So I basically go up 2 weight classes, and we had a guy that was pretty good at 74s, and so I moved up, and of course my reward for moving up was the first dual meet with me at 184 was against Oklahoma State.
Oh shit.
Oklahoma. Josh Lambrick, number 2 guy in the country.
Oh damn.
He's the guy, and I feel so bad for him, but he was like teching the guy in the finals of the nationals and got like pulled under and pinned. It was like, yeah. But I lose to him in overtime. So my first match, I'm up 2 weight classes, going against number 2 guy in the country. Just lost to some nobody at 65s, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I end up losing that match in overtime. On that trip, I end up beating like a top 10 guy from Portland State.
Holy shit.
And then I end up like qualifying for the NC2As that year. And then I end up making the world team trials that year at 187s. And I weighed 182 pounds when I weighed in at because like my body like regulated, right? I was like back where.
So do you sauna
But before that, I
anymore
kind
ever?
of looked like him for a couple months.
Nice and poofy?
Nice and poofy for a couple months.
I'm naturally supposed to be this way.
Okay.
Your
But
joints
anyways,
say otherwise.
I'm
it was
healthy.
Your bulging discs say no.
Yeah.
now
that's
if it's
probably why they're
sauna or steam room, I would say steam room. But to go back to the
You
beginning
sauna
there,
way too much, or you,
dude, I was training so much to get my weight down that I was just like in an ice bath all the time.
Ooh, that'd feel good.
All the time, like whirlpool. I would just be like, and I was so dehydrated that like I was just hot. You know how like you're
Right,
hot, and
yeah.
like it's like you can't sweat, so you can't cool down, and like the thought of like a Jolly Rancher makes me hurl even to this day because like it just like
stickiness
formed
of-
this like powder coating on the roof of my mouth. It's awful, man. And that's why I like steam rooms because at least like the
moist.
Some moisture in there.
Yeah, there's some moisture in there, man.
I love it.
But every time I got out of the ice bath, it was always just when everything came back to the fingers and the toes, it's like the worst feeling in the world. I hate that crap, man. It's
We got to
it
post that
hurts.
picture of us at UVU. We had tiny ice baths, literally the size of this table.
literally like
Yeah.
like horse troughs.
And they would make us do it after practice. So there'd
be
literally be
3 or
like 8
4 of us
just trying
in
to
there.
get in there, just fucking legs in.
And I wasn't
Hanging
doing it
over.
for health reasons, like the whole cold plunge for 2 minutes thing. Like I was in that thing for 20 minutes,
Doing
like,
it the wrong way.
like
Yeah.
like I get out,
They're
I could not feel my body,
Like,
and
hey,
then
you
everything
have to
would
get
come
out
back
or you're
through, and
gonna
it
die
just,
of hyperthermia.
Oh my gosh, well I was so hot, man. I just wanted to stay nice and cold.
All right, coach, check this out here. Cauliflower, no cauliflower.
Well, I got a baby one, right? So
Oh,
I
it's
can
there.
actually, I
That's
can
not,
actually,
that's
It's not
not,
really a
I would
baby.
not
I
call that a
classify
baby
it
one.
Baby cauliflower.
I would
You
call
just
it
got
baby.
little ears.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this was my protege in high school. So I
Yeah,
can't,
no calling.
I can't
Let's
tell them,
go.
you
Let's go.
You gotta be able to hide it a little bit, right? Like you have to, like if you're looking straight on with me, like you don't really notice it. It's not until I do this that you're like, oh.
Oh fuck, you got the badass.
If a guy starts like talking ish, and I just like kind of look left, for
Flash a
second,
little
it's
bit.
like, oh, never mind, man, dude.
Just
Dude,
do
it's-
one of
it's
these
fine,
ones.
it's
He
fine.
goes,
Yeah.
are you
yeah.
sure you want to fuck with me?
The crazy thing about this though is like, so I started wrestling when I was 5 years old, right? I wrestled and competed through basically I was 23, like when I finished 24. This happened in 10 seconds.
Oh shit.
Like that story I was just telling you when I qualified for the World Team Trials and placed 7th at the U.S. Open, up a weight class. Literally, like I'm in the blood rounds, right? We go out of bounds. Like I win this match, I'm basically like I qualify the trials. I'm All-American, U.S.
Right.
Open All-American.
Yeah,
Like
right.
like that's like
That's legit.
I'm like there's NCAA champions that have never done that.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, we go out of bounds, and like I get a takedown, we go out of bounds, down by 1, right? Back in the day, you go out of bounds in parterre, you come back in parterre, right? So like, I was wearing my headgear, right? Go out of bounds, headgear comes off.
Throw that shit off.
Just 15 seconds, dude. Throw it to my dad in the corner, my coach in the corner, and then like good old fashioned, just brute gut wrench, right? To end the match. So just lock it up. We got 10 seconds. Drive. Pop the hips, hit the turn, like out of bounds, win the match, right? And then like my coach kind of just looks at me funny, and I'm like, what? And like my ears like
Exploded.
just huge, right? And that was and you know, I drained it that day, wrapped it up, like took basically like 2 weeks off after that, and just like let it heal. But that was the only, you know, that was my cauliflower ear story. It's
That's
not like
your
it was like literally like 10 seconds of my wrestling career is what gave me the cauliflower
your whole
ear,
year.
right? And plus, you know, if you got cauliflower ear, I know you're tough, right?
Right.
But if you don't,
Right.
you know, then that makes it even better, right? Right. So
Hey, my son's been telling me this is my middle finger in Chinese.
oh, there you
That's
go.
what he told me. Dad, it's not the middle finger.
Yeah.
All right, coach. Slap or punch?
Punch.
Right.
Olympic style wrestling or collegiate style wrestling?
Man, I used to love Olympic style, but I just feel like folk style is just so much more fun.
Love it. Love it.
Definitely a lot more action for sure.
More action, especially now that I'm like into jiu-jitsu. Like the folk style helped me out so much more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it is such a easier transition. Like if you wrestled and you want to become a fighter, and your background is American wrestling, college wrestling, you're gonna do much better in the sport than like a European wrestler that transitions into fighting because of
top position.
because of top position, because of flow, because of rolling, because of like
Getting escape.
You know, like
Right.
all of those types of things, like, and the conditioning. You got to be way better conditioned as a college wrestler than you do as an Olympic wrestler, and that's just the truth.
It's just so many more matches. It's so much longer of a season. You have to deal with like it's just a lot.
But I do think that the kids that don't do the Olympic style are hurting themselves.
So you do also need.
You got to do both.
Yep. You guys
It's
hear
too
that?
important. You get, you know, like you look at the NCAAs, and you know there were a few matches that if the guy hadn't wrestled Greco or freestyle at some point in his life, he wouldn't have had that throw in his back pocket, you know, to win the match, right?
Yeah.
So like, you got to be able to, you got to do both. And I mean, I would say that like the Olympic style though, like the Olympians are tougher. Like freestyle Greco, like you gotta be way tougher, because like if any of you have ever been in a gut wrench and you gotta stop them from turning you to win that match, that is probably the hardest thing in your life that you will ever have to do.
That
Stop
makes sense.
that gut wrench. Like it is pain. Like it is worse than like any submission I've ever been put in jiu-jitsu. Like it
Nothing like borderline breaking your own ribs to stop somebody from turning you.
it's funny because like people ask me like jiu-jitsu or wrestling. I'm like, well, I mean, you can't.
That was the next one. So while we got it, jiu-jitsu or wrestling? Let's hear it.
All right. Well, I would say you can't tap in wrestling,
Right.
right? So I think that wrestling.
You're gonna get choked out until the ref calls
Literally.
it in. Like so, either you go out or you fight
go
off
to
your
your
back.
back.
I'm sorry.
I've slept people 4 times.
Wrestling is the foundation, man. Like I think that when you got wrestling as the foundation, you can do anything, right? I think that if jiu-jitsu is your foundation, it's just different. It's a different mentality. Like I love it, like personally, from the standpoint that it keeps me on the mats, but I also love it because it's not as hard as wrestling.
Right.
And that's
the training's
that's,
not as hard.
Yeah, the training is not as hard. Like it's a more lazy style, generally speaking. Like it's not very explosive. It's more flowy.
It is, yeah.
It's you know, it's different. You know, and I mean, and like you know, it's you get humbled as a wrestler.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
for sure.
where you're like, oh yeah, and then you do something, and then you're like in a triangle or something. You're like, ugh,
Val knows.
so freaking.
Oh, I
annoying,
know.
man.
Yeah.
Right, Chino?
Yeah.
Shout out
Val
Chino.
knows. Val knows, right,
115-pound
Chino?
girl.
ripping
just
his arm off.
choking me out like it's their job, fucking ripping arms off and shit like that.
Their technique is like amazing, man. Some of those females.
Oh, dude,
It's
I'm-
sharp.
Well, and like the thing for me is like
Tell her again, yeah.
I'm too hard headed to like.
It's a
To
that's- it's a
advance
weakness.
through the position, you know?
Yep,
So I'm like,
yeah.
oh, she's got my arm, but I'm just going to pull my arm back. She's not going to get it. And then I go to like twist and step over, and then it's like, damn it. All right.
That's awesome.
Shout out,
I
Shino.
didn't think you were going to get that, but you got it.
I love it. I love it. Hey, Coach. So, one thing I want to talk about too, so we can give you some time here to talk about it. After college, you get into the finance world. What would be, because now NILs are in place, right? So, what would be your advice, seeing what you've seen over the last 20 years of just being in the finance world, and then just seeing the start and growth of NIL? What is your opinion on that? Creating a brand on like social media, like what's your take on it?
I like it. I mean, I think that people always ask me, "Hey, is our Bo and Piper going to go to school?" And like I tell them, like Kristen, she's a successful local attorney, does estate planning, does wills, trust, asset protection. Me, I'm a certified financial planner, so like I'm helping people build wealth, helping them like accomplish goals and objectives related to that. But like when I look at my kids, like I want them to be business owners.
Yeah.
I way rather than be business owners than work for somebody. I want them to live on their terms. I want them to do their thing. I want them to find their passion, and I want them to develop that into something that you can monetize. And like that's the coolest thing, in my opinion, for these people that do. Like they live and breathe their sport. They live and breathe whatever they do. There's actually a platform to do that now because of social media, because of like NIL, because of like all these different things. And so there's so much more tools available for you to be able to become successful and financially independent doing something that like you just truly love, whereas like, how it was with us. Like, I mean, for us, it was like, okay, we go get a degree and then we go to work somewhere. And then, I mean, I'm thankful that I've ended up falling into more of the entrepreneurship route, and I've basically always had my own business and own company. But, I think that kind of like come full circle on that, like it's a lot easier to make it as a business owner if you have a wrestling background.
Right.
I remember when I first got started in the business, and first thing I had to do is call people, pick up the phone and call people and tell them, hey, I'm getting into this business now. I'd like to sit down with you and share what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
And that damn phone was felt like it was 200 pounds, man. It was so hard to pick that phone up and make those dials. It was just like so nerve wracking. It was crazy, and it's like, I just remember like in that moment sitting back and being like, dude, you've lost 25 pounds in a day before you can make 25 phone calls. Right. And that's what started it, man.
Yeah.
Started making the calls and like one to the other. So I think that's really cool. I think that, what a lot of people are forgetting though, is that everything has a shelf life. Because even your brand is only going to last so long until you're going to have to adapt or pivot or change it.
Right.
And so you see it a lot with professional athletes where they made a ton of money, and then they get to the end of it and they got nothing to show for it. Right. And that's probably the thing that like, what else pisses me off? Like you have the means to take care of yourself now and take care of future you, and you're not doing it. Like why would you not want to take care of like the you of tomorrow? Why would you not want to take care of your kids in the future and provide like a legacy to them, or later on have the money to provide them with an opportunity to start a business? Bo and Piper turn 18 and they tell me, Dad, like I don't want to go to college. I want to go start this business. Will you loan me $50,000? Like, show me the business plan. Yeah, absolutely. I would love that.
Right.
Like I don't mind striking a check for a business, compared to education, because you can learn anything you want to learn nowadays if you're willing to sit down in front of a computer and watch YouTube.
I want to start a business.
So Yeah.
If you got 50 grand laying around,
So let me ask you
Comes with strings attached. All right? I can tell you that. All right.
yeah, whole bunch of ass whoopings. Hey, coach.
because
So
I want to train you for the Open again. Like, damn it.
Yeah.
coach, you know, kids like where we came from, you know, like I remember, you know, literally, you know, even going to college, you and, you know, Kristen, Coach Gifford's wife, sat me down and like, hey, like, you know, this is how you get to college. This is, you know, so for kids that came from like where we came from, where we don't really have no financial understanding or really like what's like some type of simple guidelines that you would tell an 18-year-old kid that's getting ready to go to college, you know, having to deal with maybe student debt or whatever. Like, what are some guidelines that you can
Number
follow?
one, like, because they are all on campus, I'm sure you remember, here, sign up for this credit card and you can get a free whatever, right? Like, stay away from credit card debt, right? 100%, like, especially at that age, especially young, like, I'm not opposed to student loans. You know, I mean, I remember that I was really pushing for you to go to ASU, you know, back in the day. And I know that, like, one of the turnoffs was like, well, I'm going to have to take out debt to do that. But you got to just remember that anytime that you're using money, like, you just ask yourself a question, like, am I spending it or am I investing it? You should ask yourself that same question anytime that you're putting time into something too. Am I spending time doing this or am I investing time doing this? Because if you're investing, right, then that means that you're looking to grow into something through it. If you're spending, it's probably not worth it, right? I'm not saying that you can't have fun, right? I'm not saying that you can't like go and do your things. I'm really big on balance. I've had too many clients that saved their whole life and retired early, and then they die 2 years later and they don't get to do anything that they wanted to do with their wife, you know, and it's it's heartbreaking, you know, and so tomorrow's not promised, you know, you gotta take care of you know, you now, but you gotta also take care of future you. So, you know, if you're, you know, if you're having to take out debt to go to school, right? Like, you gotta remember, like, this is an investment in me. This is an investment in myself. What type of return on investment do I want? Because unfortunately, so many kids like will start down a path and it gets hard. Yeah, that's called life, guys. It gets hard.
Yeah,
Straight up.
Right? There's no such thing as like anything that you ever do in life. If it doesn't come with struggle, then you didn't try hard enough.
Right.
You didn't reach what you could have actually reached. And so keeping that in mind, that this is an investment in yourself, what type of return on investment do I want? And then on the back end of it, I mean, all these NIL guys, all these guys, they're making good money. It's not going to last forever, man. You gotta put some aside, you know, and don't give it to your buddy who is, you know, like you gotta find a professional that actually does this for a living. That's not going to throw you in some crazy cryptocurrency that might blow up or whatever, you know, like.
Where can kids find that? Is there like a safe place that kids can go to be like I said, someone like me that grew up how I grew up, like, is there a safe place I can go that, because I feel like how you just said, everyone's got this great idea, right?
Of course.
We're going to make millions if you do
so,
that.
Of course we are.
So
right?
what is that? What's the safe place for that? What are the guidelines that, hey, like, this is if they're doing this is
what you're looking for.
I mean, I guess like for anybody, right? Just like anything in life, focus on what you can control. Right? Don't chase the carrot. All right? You're better off just saving into a bank account than chasing this $1 million dream investment. Right?
Right.
If you can develop your savings habits, if you can develop where you're not living above your means, right, then you can learn how to do the other stuff, right? But because the people that are most successful financially when they get to 50, 60, 70 years old are the people that control their spending habits, the people that saved first and then went and spent. And so if you can, and I'm not saying you got a budget, right?
So you can, like,
budget
self-education
sucks.
is better than.
I think self-education is good. I mean, there's a lot of. I don't like a lot of like the seminars and stuff out there because a lot of times like they're typically like selling something like, you know, you can go Grant Cardone, he's going to say you should only buy real estate, right? You can go to Robert Kiyosaki, and he's going to say you should only buy cryptocurrency and real estate, right? And you're gonna and so like I say, I mean, lean on your network. Odds are is that somebody that you know or knows someone that's in the field, and then just don't get caught up in like the pizzazz of like, I'm gonna make 100% per year or anything like that. Just it's like wrestling. Like I'm gonna be a national champ when I'm 8. No, you're not gonna be an Olympian when you're 8. You gotta work to that, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be worth $2, $3, $4 million, and you're coming from like a middle class kind of household. Like, yeah, like I understand. Like you're not going to be the person that's worth 100 million, unless you
Right.
get really lucky on accident, right?
Right.
How are you going to be successful? The same way that you became a good wrestler, by like having a plan and sticking to it, and I wouldn't get like too caught up in like trying to pick the next great stock. If I was just like telling someone, if you do nothing else, just buy the market. I would say buy the S&P 500 and just keep adding and just keep doing that. Now, obviously, like you guys are in a different situation, because if you ever want to sit down, we can obviously go through and I can show you some maybe better stuff that you can do.
Right.
But
That's for the exclusive stuff,
But
guys.
that's
You got to schedule an appointment with Coach Eddy for that one.
You got to pay for that, right? But the biggest thing in life, it doesn't matter if it's finance, it doesn't matter if it's wrestling, it doesn't matter if it's school. It's like, what are your daily habits,
Yeah.
right? What are your habits? And if you develop good habits, you'll find yourself being successful, right? If you don't want to do those things because they're hard, too bad.
Gotta get it done.
You got to do it. Like the I hear all the time, the way to get from where you are to where you want to be is to do the stuff on your list that you don't want to do.
Right.
Period. And do that every day, and that will get you to where you want to go. And then once you reach that, you can never stay stagnant.
Yeah.
You always got to level up. You always got to go level up. You always got to be adapting. You always got to be adjusting. You got to understand that in life, like it's a constant scramble, man.
There's no smooth sailing.
And you got to. There's not. I mean, there's people that live a life because the parents or grandparents did it for them, right? But it's also why in my business, even the people that are uber successful, by the third generation, all the money's gone.
Yeah.
And it's just because like the younger generations don't develop the habits because they get it all easy, and then it all goes away, and then someone has to step up.
Right.
Someone has to step up and make that difference, and anybody can do it. Now the path is different for everybody, because
That's good. That's good to know. Yeah.
some people have all the connects.
Yeah.
Some people have all the opportunities, and they just got to take them, right? Other people got to grind to get the connects. Other people got to grind to get the opportunity.
Right.
And, unfortunately, they got to be that much better than the other guy, because if you're close, they're going to give it to the person that they know, or the person that is a family friend, or whatever, right?
Yep.
So, like, there is, unfortunately, when you're trying to break through that roof, you're trying to break through that wall, right? It is harder for you.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you can't do it, and when you get to the other side, right, you can help other people do it too. And the biggest thing is, I think, like, for me, the reason that I'm still on the mats, like a sport that's given me so much, like I have to give back to it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I wouldn't be where I'm at in life without my dad being hard on me, without my brothers chasing me,
Yeah.
and without just me like wanting to be the best at something,
Yeah.
and I could look back and I'm like, yeah, there was a time where I was like, I want to be an Olympian, right? And then I can look back at like college and say like, okay, like I did a lot, but I still didn't do enough, and I knew that, and so to this day, why Eddie, why weren't you a national champion? And I can tell you like, well, I got hurt, which is true, right? And I mean, the guy that won the nationals, I beat him 5-1 when I was healthy, but after the injury, I didn't do everything I could I didn't do everything I could to overcome that. And that's why I didn't overcome it. And in life, you'll find that like your passion adjusts and changes, and you got to lean into that, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, when I finished wrestling, like it was rough, man. That was my life, you know? And, you know, fortunately I found Kristen, and, you know, I started my business, and then just everything that I learned through wrestling, I plugged into the business.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how we ended up where we're at today.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach. Like you can see, if y'all can get that on camera.
Oh man.
I got my boots on, Coach. The impact that you, the whole Gifford family, I always get super emotional about it because you guys didn't have to do a lot of the stuff you guys did for us. You know, you guys took us across the country. You guys were there for us, not only wrestling wise, but personally. You know, you guys helped literally guide. I tell people this all the time. Like, man, I don't know if I'd have this gym without you guys. You know, you and Greg. You know what I mean? Like, you guys gave us the confidence for guys like that come from where we come from to be like, hey, like you guys can do it. You know, you guys can figure this shit out. So I get emotional about it because you Giffords, man, like you guys changed us. You know what I mean? We were a couple kids from the Eastside that we didn't really have, you know, we had my dad who was a hard ass on us, but you guys kind of adapted us into the men we are today. So
Right.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Coach, man.
I'd put your dad in his place once or twice.
Oh,
but,
a couple times, Coach. A couple times, man. But hey, dude, like I said, man, I love it, man. I appreciate you, Coach, being here, man. That is gonna wrap us up, though, Coach. Well,
Sweet.
Coach, man, for real, appreciate everything you've ever done for us.
Hell yeah.
We love you,
Hell
Coach.
yeah.
But hey, that wraps it up, guys.
3 weeks with you, but
Yeah, that's all right. That was the worst 3 weeks I ever did, but that was also the probably the best I ever felt on a wrestling
Hey,
match.
I'll tell you
so.
guys what. You give us another follow. You shout us out. Check us out on YouTube, all platforms. Follow us, give us a comment, subscribe. Let us know who you want on here next. And hopefully you guys learn something. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Doses.